Let's go.
I'm glad Lexi's not here today.
Oh, she'd love it. She'd love it.
Oh, this is outrageous. I can't even see.
So here we have the inputs. This obviously has the female plugs, so you go to the male sockets. We won't get into graphic details with that. Then you've got these controls here that say L, C, and what's that top one? D. Left, centre. Is it R? It should be R. Well, it's D. Okay.
They've all got LCD.
LCD, yep. So that's a centre setting for that particular channel. All right. C, we'll put it into the centre, which is what you want.
What do L and D stand for?
L is left, D. D, I'm not sure, I can't remember, so I'll have to get back to that. Now this one here has DYN and 48 pH. Now what that means is we have dynamic microphones and we have condenser microphones which are electrically powered. If you're using a normal dynamic microphone, which is like a handheld vocal mic, usually they're dynamic and they don't require a power source, so you have it switched to dynamic. If you're using one of these babies, which is usually the long, thin, cylinder type microphones, they're a condenser microphone, which takes power. So that's pH stands for phantom, 48 is 48 volt phantom power. So there's actually electricity running through the mic cable. That's not hugely bad and it's not going to shock you, and I've received it on the lips many times. And it just
is that like
on the lips,
battery? You just lick the microphone to see if it's working.
performing on stage and zap, ouch. It just stings, it doesn't actually give you a terrible shock.
I've bashed my face with a microphone too many times.
Yeah.
Just leak it around too much.
Okay, so you need to obviously come to that decision for each channel. And usually C for centre or L for left is what you're after on those switches. Obviously channel 1, 2, 3, channel 1, 2 and 3 on the front. Okay, that consistent on the other mixer?
Yep.
Same setup? Yep. Exactly the same setup. Good.
Except
All
we
right.
made it for left-handed people.
Right.
Now, obviously, you have your cables. Usually, you'll just be using one, and you just use the Velcro to sort of keep it all tidy, and just have one cable poking out the end. Right, let's move to the front panel. On the front panel, we have a little switch that says 80, 20, 150. What do you think?
Just the peaking level.
What were we talking about last week? What were some of the values? I think you're
Hertz.
Hertz. What this is a low frequency roll-off. Why do you think you might want to use a low frequency roll-off?
So don't damage your ears. Yeah.
So you've got a peak to peak range.
No. What's likely to be in low frequencies that you would not want?
Footsteps.
Traffic, thumps, bumps,
That's at the
Computer,
most range.
rumbles,
computer noises.
air conditioning, stuff like that just has a rumble, right? Or wind is the other one. Okay, you know how wind hits the microphone and you get these big sort of sounds. That's the sort of thing you want to filter all. So if you're outdoors, always have that on. In fact, most of the time, if you're recording voice, always have it on. Simple as that. Probably 80 is your best setting. If you're just in a normal circumstance, if you're in a really radical circumstance, like near a road or in a heavy wind, flip it up to 150.
But if you're
Okay.
in like a room with it's
you're in a-
basically silent, you turn it to 20?
Just keep it on 20. Right. The other thing that causes a lot of low frequencies is handling the boom pole. Right? Any touching of the boom pole is going to send a massive boom. Not that sort of boom, a bang.
No pun intended.
Yes.
So just touching the cable.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Huge noise through the microphone, they're very sensitive. So you've got to be aware of that too. It's another reason you would do that. Okay, and then you've got a left, right, centre control here. So this channel will be, out of the stereo outputs, will be panned centre if you have it on C, which means it's going into channels 1 and 2. All right? One way of doing it, have it in the centre, or you can have it in just one channel.
So in the centre and doing post, if you want to change it.
That's exactly right. That's what you tend to do, right? So all three are the same. You've got the roll-off. So it is quite feasible to plug 3 microphones into this and mix them into a stereo output. Have one left, one right. It
Could
is
you
possible.
just to kind of I don't know, just to be a bit more crazy, have one sort of recording ambience while you have another one as recording
Yeah.
vocals, so you could
Absolutely.
you
Have
know,
one
just
hand
for
left, one
continuity.
hand right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. I wouldn't recommend that as a working procedure. You've got enough to look after just keeping a good voice.
Yeah, one
good voice
spoon is
recording.
hard enough to look after.
The only time I would say it might be worthwhile doing is if you've got two characters standing a fair way apart. Then it might be good to have a boom on each of them, right, or a microphone on each of them. All right. Then obviously that's your volume control. Then we come over here and you've got your lead meters. What are the values here? Minus 20, minus 10, minus 7, minus 5, 3, 1, 0. Decibels. And whereabouts do you think we should have our signal coming to?
0.
6.
Minus 6 might be what you're after. You want to have them peaking about minus 6 under
Really?
normal circumstances.
Oh.
Yep. And you want to give yourself what's called some headroom. You want to leave a bit of space there in case things get loud. What happens? You do a sound check with an actor. They do it at this level. And you think, that's a really nice level. Thank you very much. And then they roll the camera and they do it at that level. And you go, damn.
Okay,
we've
so
got to
0
take
is
it
the
again.
top of your headroom.
So leave a bit of space
Okay.
because it goes up very, very easily. 0 is effectively the top. You can go right up to 2 or 3 and it'll start to distort up to around 3. So if you're hitting 0, don't worry. If you're well into the red, worry. If it's just all lights on, bang, you've got a problem. You'll hear it in the earphones. Yeah. All right, so that is up to you to adjust these input volumes such that the levels are sitting about the middle. Okay? It really is about the middle that you're after as your average. It can peak up and down a bit over that, but quite sensitive, guys. Okay? The sensitivity is the level of people's voices. They get very loud and very soft, and boy, it's really hard to keep control of it. If you go too far down, what's going to happen to the sound if you're too soft?
Can't hear anything.
You can't hear. You might be able to still hear it.
If you want to get out like distortion or something, you won't get enough space to get out.
Yeah, if you want to push up the volume level, what's going to happen?
The distortion's going to come with
It
it.
might be the
background
distortion,
noise.
it's the background noise. The
Yeah.
hiss, general electronic noise and schmegma in the background all comes up with it. So, not good, nasty. So you want to get enough signal that you're away from the hiss, but not so much that you're into the distortion. That's the real nastiness of sound. One end you've got hiss, the other end you've got distortion. So you've got to try and ride that balance as well as you can. Probably better to tend upwards as far as you can go without getting into distortion. Okay, then we have this DIR and tape, direct and tape. Direct means you are listening to the direct signal from the mixer. Okay?
That's slightly different on this one.
If you flick to tape, there's a little cable that runs back into the mixer and you can actually hear what's coming off the tape rather than what's going.
So that would be
From
better
the
so you,
mixer.
like you said before, you don't listen.
Theoretically, yes. If everything's plugged in and all the plugs are working correctly and everything's fine, yes. That means you are actually hearing, if you're on tape, you should be hearing what's coming back in. All right? That's why that is there. Then you have OSC. Now, OSC is actually an oscillator, which is actually tone. Right? So, I don't think this one has it, does it?
No.
No. It's only on this one. You go to OSC and it gives you beep. Okay, that's for recording bars and tone
Okay.
onto the tape to get your levels right. That's in fact how you should do all your testing of levels between the machines to make sure that they're aligned. Then you've got battery and external power. Okay, we're on battery. Does that make sense? Any questions? All